Good evening. Welcome to This Is the Day on a lovely Thursday. Hoping you had an amazing day, but the good news is you get to end it with us on the show. My name is Medrin Nyambura. So this weekend is a great weekend. We're looking forward to two things. One, Mother's Day on Sunday, and a day that many people may not know of is Saturday, 12th May. And we are celebrating nurses. You know why? It's International Nurses Day. So when you think about a nurse, walk into a hospital today and you don't feel good. What happens? You get to a doctor, you get your diagnosis, but from there, it's the nurse who works with you till the very end. And I am not naive to the fact that they have faced a lot of challenges in Kenya and all over the world, from long working hours, questionable working conditions, and the workload keeps getting higher. But we are looking on the positive side and choosing to celebrate every nurse who gives their time and talent and skills to serving other people. But before we get to a part where we talk about the challenges and how we can move forward, how about we go back in history and see where we came from? And today I want to celebrate a nurse who pioneered this whole thing. And her name is Winfred Wairimu Nyoike. She was the first Kenyan registered nurse. And she was born in Tetu in Nyeri in 1936. And she studied midwifery, nursing, and microbiology. And she also became a registered nurse at the age of 22. She became the first matron of PCEA Kikuyu Hospital. And if you thought her service was done, she actually served as Kenyatta National Hospital's director for 27 years. So she's since left us, but we appreciate her for what she pioneered. And this is to every nurse who gives their time, gives their day, despite everything they go through. You choose to serve us. Happy International Nurses Day. We totally appreciate you. So to every nurse, we pray that God gives you the strength to keep doing what you do. But tunasema asante sana. Thank you so much for helping us. Thank you for withstanding so many challenges. And we only ask that you continue to have the strength. So to every nurse, old or young, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry, thank you for your service. We totally appreciate you. Before we get started with our conversation, how about we have some good music? Remember, you can join the conversation on 0786 316 316 or texting on 22316. And also on our social media platforms, it's Family Radio 316 on Twitter and Facebook. Yes, and in studio today, we are talking about how do we celebrate the nurse in Kenya. But before we get there, can we get the backstory? And to carry this conversation with me is an amazing young man. His name is Boaz Onchari, and he represents the Kenya National Union of Nurses. He's the chairman, Nairobi County, and there are chairmans in every county, just to make that very clear. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very
Totally
much.
Appreciated.
Thank you.
Do you know what I like about having you? When you speak of a nurse, what do people think? It's a female,
It's
right?
a female, sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're showing them even men are nurses.
Yeah, actually.
So karibu sana.
Asante sana.
You've been practicing for 5 years.
I've been practicing for 5 years. That is 3 years in a private institution, 2 years in private institution, and this is my 3rd year in a government institution.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What inspired you to be a nurse?
It is a tricky question.
Okay.
Because to be honest, during my time in high school and in primary school, I actually wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
Going by my background, I could even broadcast, I could entertain guys during games, I could broadcast football, I was actually a football commentator in my high school and in my primary school.
Yes.
Even up to the time that I was graduating from high school, I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
But then here comes that you have choices based on your grades.
Yes. Welcome to Kenya.
Yes, welcome to Kenya.
Yes.
I had the qualifications because I was good in languages. I also had the qualifications of joining nursing school, that is a school of medicine. And it came to career choices now. Well, this is where my parents played a big role, and I must appreciate my mom, wherever she is, and my dad. Yeah, they played a big role because they guided me through. They oversaw what are the challenges that each of the career that I could want, what are the challenges that I could face ahead.
Okay.
So I didn't know whether they foresaw that me joining nursing could be better for me.
Yes.
And then, of course, the mentality of we don't have a doctor in the family.
Every
so actually
family has a doctor.
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
So that actually also gave me motivation. And then when I got that chance of joining a nursing school,
Yes.
I actually went for it.
Okay.
Yes.
And you actually told me that you don't regret it at all. If you had a choice, you'd still
If
pick
I was
nursing.
given another choice,
Yes.
that any faculty that how you have this and you could want to join, then I could still go for nursing.
Okay.
Yes.
And you know, many times nursing is called a calling. And you're okay with that, but it comes with a lot of misconceptions. What are some of them that you faced?
The misconception about a calling, you see, a calling is basically in any work, like the work you do. The attitude and how you motivate and actually how you take your work,
Yes.
to me is what is called a calling.
Okay.
You could be qualified, but then if you don't have that attitude, the positive attitude towards whatever you're doing, then it may not be a calling as such.
That's
Nursing is a profession. So the issue of calling nursing that it's a calling that you guys need to help whatever circumstances.
Yes.
You know, these nurses are also human beings.
Okay.
They have families. They undergo a lot.
Yes.
We live in Kenya. If the wage bill is high, a nurse also undergoes the same challenges that we Kenyans are facing.
Okay.
So it is a profession like any other professions. We go to school, we go for internships, and we apply for these jobs.
Okay.
Yes.
And you're actually not less than the doctors. Because you'll hear people say, I don't want to see the nurse. And in my mind, I'm thinking, the nurse is the person who can actually help you.
There's one thing I wanted to appreciate. It's
Okay.
good that we are in the Nurses Week.
Yes.
And I want to tell the Kenyans and those who are watching us that it's a nurse who welcomes you to the world when you are born. And in many cases, 99%, it is the nurses who sees you off when God decides.
Okay.
Yes. So you can see the role the nurse is playing.
Yes.
The role the nurse is with that patient or client 24 hours a shift. So you can imagine at any given time, a nurse is with his or her client.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're actually very key to the whole system. And I think something that proved that was last year when we had the strike that lasted longer than it should have. And you know what breaks my heart is that devolution was supposed to sort all these problems.
Yes.
And we were having a discussion earlier and we were saying it actually didn't, because we devolved the functions, yes, but we left the policy making to the national government. So in your opinion, what do you think has been the impact of that?
First, I could want to respond on the impact of our strike. We were out for 151 days after the doctors' 100-day strike.
Yes.
So actually in the year 2007, it was...
17, yes.
Yeah, 2017, most of our time we spent outside when Kenyans where we belong were suffering.
Yes.
Yes. And when we look at this, who are on the blame? Oh, please, nurses, come back to work. But we never had such instances when doctors were out for 100 days.
Okay.
Yes. Nurses were still at their workstations and activities were running, but to a limited extent.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are some of the challenges that we nurses, actually as the public should be looking at. Instead of looking at when nurses maybe are demanding for their dues, what is contained in the CBA is not actually the monetary aspect as the common mwananchi looks at it.
Yes.
It also contains so many things, our working place, what we need to give better services. Yes.
Okay.
So when you complain that you've gone to a certain facility and maybe, yes, the doctors are there, the nurses are there, but maybe there are no drugs.
Exactly.
The condition, the environment is not conducive. Those are some of the issues contained in the CBAs. And if really the government could honor those CBAs, then at least our health system in Kenya and in our counties
Will
will
actually
be running
improve.
smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later in terms of details and what the nurses actually want.
Yes.
But we're talking about devolution.
Yeah.
We've devolved this function.
Yes.
First, do you agree with how we've done it?
From where I sit and my personal opinion, this was one of the biggest mistakes that happened
Okay.
in the health system. A common mwananchi, yes, he or she could be thinking that actually I used to travel maybe from Garissa to Nairobi to get those dialysis services, but now maybe I can get them at Garissa County Referral. But then, for how long will this be?
Okay.
Yes. In most counties, those machines are just lying in the stores. Yes.
Because there are no staff?
There are no staffs. Yes.
Okay.
So when this issue of devolution came, they really wanted, yes, it was a good idea, but then they plan. They had to plan. You cannot be giving a directive from the national government and then you want it to be implemented in the county. What happens? They will turn back to the monetary aspect. Yes. They'll say we have no budget for this. Yes, you come up with maybe a rental unit in a county where you don't have staffs. You need to employ staffs. Then again, now you need to go back to treasury. Give us money so that we can employ. There are so many challenges that came up with devolution. For instance, now look at the issue of transfers.
Yes.
If I really want to move out of Nairobi, I have to go source for a nurse if I want to move to Machakos. Source for someone who could wish to transfer to Nairobi, and then we go back to the Public Service Board and request for the same so that can be done. When you were in the national government, it was, you could be transferred to any county.
Okay.
Yes, this is Kenya, whereby we told that you can live anywhere as long as you're a Kenyan citizen, you can. But now look at what the counties have done. If you can only transfer within the county, but you cannot go outside. This has rendered us a lot of suffering. If I really want to maybe continue with my studies, and the only place that I can get the services, maybe it is in Nairobi. You see now those constraints.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to tell me, if you want to be transferred to Machakos,
yes,
you as a Boaz need to look for someone who wants to transfer as well?
Yes.
Wow.
That
okay.
is, yes.
Okay. You've already said that you are not for it. So is it that the national government is coming up with policies that they're not seeing through, or the county governments cannot handle it? Where is the disconnect?
I think the national government, you see, it could want the common mwananchi to see that it's working. But then at the county levels, they also have their priorities.
Okay.
You may get that in a certain county, maybe health was not part of their priority in terms of what they want to achieve in their 5 years.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So their way of implementation may not be the same as the other counties. That is why you're seeing, maybe, for instance, you've seen Machakos, Makueni. Yes, they have rolled out their plan because maybe that was their priority. In other counties, they have also what they have rolled out, and they are really working on it. Yeah, so this one comes with on how those counties plan. But you see, with the national government, there are 4 agendas that they could want.
Yes.
They could want implemented by the end of the 4 years. So again, this comes to how the priorities. And again, when they talk of allocations of funds, yeah, you'll get that maybe Garissa has been allocated more funds than Nairobi. Yes. Nairobi being a city, and again, when devolution came in, there were those who were seconded from the national government, and those that were employed under devolution are not in the same terms. Yeah, so you see, even trying to catch up with the wage bill in Nairobi is something different. Yeah, so I think these are some of the things that have really messed the issue of the health sector. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're just getting started. We still have more to talk about with Boaz Onchari. If you have any question, kindly text us on 0786 316 316. And if you can check, we are more in the studio because the amazing Magdalene Ngare has joined us. I keep saying, I think I'll get a chopper for everybody who comes here because of traffic. But karibu sana, my dear. I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, but
don't
it's
even
traffic.
apologize. You're here. Right. That's what matters.
Thank you.
And I asked you, are you locked down to one hospital? And you're like, no, that's the effect of devolution. So just explain what you do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, as she explained, I'm Magdalene Ngare. I'm a Kenya registered community health nurse and specialized in pediatrics. Okay. Yeah, pediatric nursing. So I'm not locked down in one hospital right now, and these are the effects of devolution anyway. So devolution has done a lot of messes in the health sector because I was employed by the national government when we were not devolved. But when we were devolved, you know, these things are happening not only to nurses, but most of the cadres and most of the people.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the people who are suspended by the county government.
Okay.
So I'm leaving a suspension. I'm on suspension.
I like how you're saying that on national television.
Oh yes, oh yes,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Boaz already told us why he became a nurse, and you know, it was very fascinating that he had a change of heart for a minute, but he's happy where he is. Why is Magdalene a nurse?
Okay, my passion for being a nurse came when I was a very young girl, from my lower primary actually. I used to get a lot of upper respiratory infections when I was young, and there's a health center just next to my home,
Yes.
where I come from. That is where my parents used to take me. And the passion and the care that the nurses used to give me, I just felt this is what I want to become. So when I grew up, in around class 8, there's one grandmother of mine who was aging. And at some point, she was not even able to take care of herself.
Yes.
And then she told me, take me to the shower. I was like, how? How can I clean? How can I give a bath to my own grandmother? But then I did it. So I think out of that, maybe when she went to rest with the Lord, she kept telling him,
Yes.
I want this girl. Yes. I want this girl to become a nurse. Okay, after that grandmother, there's another neighbor back at home. That is a man. I used to take care of him after my 4th form. I didn't know what I was doing, but I think he appreciated so much. So when he also rested, I think he went telling the Lord also,
Yes.
I want this girl to nurse the other patients, all the old elderly, the way she did to me. So I went on like that, and so after completing my 4th form, somewhere I went and enrolled in an accounting class. Actually, I did. So I started doing my accounts. But at some point I felt, oh no, this is not my thing. I still want to go do nursing.
Yes.
So I left accounting and I went to nursing school.
Okay.
So that is how I became a nurse, with a lot of encouragement also from my parents.
Yes.
They really encouraged me to. And so I'm happy being a nurse.
I think we thank both of your parents, because even for him, it's the parents who encouraged him.
Yes, I thank
Now,
my parents for that.
we are happy you're nurses. We are happy with nurses, but we will not forget the challenges that come with that, and they're immense challenges. So I'll start with you, Boaz. Some of the challenges in your line of work.
Fine. It is true that we're going through a lot of challenges, especially at our place of work.
Okay.
We're working in government institution, whereby actually services, as the government puts it, are for free.
Yes.
That is how the government puts it. That means the number of clients coming to seek medical care from those facilities are high. But then look at the number of hours
Yes.
that we work. I work in a department whereby at times I'm alone,
Yes.
attending to more than 50 patients.
Yes.
Even if I wanted to be productive enough, is it possible?
I get you.
Even if I could prioritize all that the care that I could want to give to my clients as a nurse. In my department, the WHO standards of the patient ratio, 4 patients to 1 nurse.
Yes.
So I have 50 patients. So you can see the number of nurses that are required so that we can give total care, nursing care to that client.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is to the employing authority. The understaffings in our institutions where we work is actually a major challenge,
Okay.
which has led to the burnouts of those who are giving the services. With the nurses, we stay long in those institutions. We are human beings. By the time we get home, we also need to offer services at our homes. At times we don't render them. In Nairobi, the issue of jam, by the time you're leaving your institution at 8, you're getting to your house past midnight. The following day, actually, the following day finds you on the road, and by 8 you're supposed again to be at work.
At work.
Yes. So those are the challenges. And then there is an issue of, you remember we were out for 151 days.
That was a long time.
Yes, it was a long time, and it was not our wish to be out for that long.
Okay.
Yes. And our constitution allows every worker in this nation to demand for his or her rights.
Okay.
So we were out because of our CBA. As I mentioned early, when a common mwananchi hears of a CBA, maybe he or she thinks that these guys just want money. I gave an example of medicine. I could be in that institution from 8 to 8 in the evening, but when I don't give you the required services, are you satisfied as a common mwananchi? You came to the facility, or the required people were there, but you never got what you wanted.
Yes.
Yes. So other than the monetary aspect, which of course, yeah, I'll touch a bit on it.
Yes.
But then there are those essential commodities that are needed and required in those facilities for them to function and for us to give services to our clients as it required.
Okay.
Yes.
Magdalene, he's mentioned, understaffing, long working hours, lack of resources that you need to actually do your job. What other challenges do you face?
Yeah, those things are there. There's a lot of overcrowding in the government facilities especially. So the workload is just too much. So we may be having, they may be counting as the number of nurses. Like, somebody may count, a facility has like 200 nurses,
Okay.
But how many patients or how many clients are these 200 nurses taking care of? So they don't look at that ratio.
Okay.
And that is what they are supposed to look at. So one nurse is supposed to take care of at least 4 to 6 patients.
Yes.
Not more than that. But if 200 nurses, there's the day duty, there's the night shift, there's off days, all those things put into consideration, you find that a nurse is working for just too many patients and she cannot be effective anyway.
Okay.
Okay. The other thing, I think we have a problem of people not appreciating at least what nurses do.
Okay.
Okay, I do understand that when you're not called to be a nurse, you cannot work as a nurse for sure. Because the things that we see in those hospitals, not many people would start that. But on top of that, a nurse is a human being. A nurse needs to feed. A nurse needs to dress. A nurse has a family. We need to take our kids to school. We need all that. So all those challenges, when they are put together, you look at the welfare of the nurse. The welfare of the nurse is not taken care of. And once your welfare is not taken care of, definitely you cannot take care of the welfare of the others.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also the challenge of the disparity in payment from one county to the other.
Yes.
And he talked about, when we devolve these things, you make your decision when you're at the national level and you don't see it through at the county level.
Yes,
so have you experienced this, Magdalene?
Yes, it is there. And not even in the different counties only.
Yes.
In a county like Nairobi, we have 2 employers. We have the devolved nurses who are employed by the Ministry of Health.
Yes.
And we have the county government nurses who are employed by the Nairobi City County.
Yes.
These two, the cadre of nurses, they work in the same facilities, they do the same job, but these two group of nurses are paid differently. Honestly, when I'm working with Boaz, he's being paid more, and our experience is the same. Definitely, I'll be demotivated.
Okay.
So, as when you find me in my place of work, yes, I'll attend to you because it is a calling, but not to my best.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, because it is a bit demoralizing.
Okay.
The other thing, we have CBAs in different counties, and this is a problem that is coming up because some of the counties may start negotiating for CBAs, or the whole country may start negotiating for a CBA. One county may feel, I can implement this CBA.
Yes.
The other one may feel, no, we don't need to. So some nurses will be paid better, some others will not be paid better. So I think the whole thing of devolution of healthcare did not come up well.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was no planning and consultation.
I feel so. I feel so.
Boaz, your thoughts?
I could want to state this. First, before maybe just allow me to touch on the issue of discrepancies before maybe I give my final thought. Yeah, I want to go back to the health risks. We have our colleagues, our colleagues at work, the doctors. Yes, they get a risk allowance of 20,000 plus.
Okay.
Yes, when a nurse gets a risk allowance of 3,850. Looking at what we undergo, the long hours I stay with that patient, and what actually the government offers.
Okay.
This demoralizes nurses.
Okay.
Even the quality of care goes down. Yes. I've cited the challenges of coming from job late, going home and then coming early. Which other motivation does the government want me to survive on?
Okay.
I only survive on a salary. Yes.
Okay.
If the wage bill is high on that mkulima in Uasin Gishu, it is also high on a nurse in Nairobi. Yes.
Okay.
So it doesn't change. This is my request to the government. It is not our wish as nurses, as workers of health, to be experiencing strikes after strikes. If they were genuine enough to honor the CBS, because they have limits. Mr. President, wherever you are, you have 4 and some months, years to go.
Yes.
If we were to implement, this CBS run for 4 years or 5 years, then at least you could be having something to smile at by the end of your term, that actually in the year 2018, by the time I was in office for my last 5 years, we didn't experience any strike.
Yes.
Because as the father of this nation, I actually made sure that the CBS were implemented and all the services in the counties and in the national government were running well.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Have you faced what she was talking about, where one person is paid less than that? Have you experienced that?
I am one of the nurses working in Nairobi County.
Yes, let me tell you, Boaz is not happy.
So when Magdalene touches on that,
Yes.
I know actually she just stepped on a wound that was about to heal.
Yes.
But then it is just there waiting for someone to open it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are undergoing those challenges, but then that is why I said, let nursing be looked at as a profession.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
A calling is an attitude. It will come from you, and when you are motivated. However long you'll be in that place of work,
Yes.
however much work you'll be handling, at least you know at the end of the day, there is motivation, there is someone appreciating you,
Yes.
and the community, I mean the Kenyans at large,
Yes.
are actually satisfied with the services that you are giving.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Now okay, go ahead.
Just one.
Go ahead.
Another, you see, as now as we talk, I tend to. There was something today in the social media, though we normally don't. But as Kenyans,
Yes.
when you see someone in a dust coat, it is a nurse. So even if I just take my dust coat, I start selling my sausages there, I'm a nurse.
Boaz, I'm sorry. On behalf of anyone.
As nurses of this nation, we are not happy on what was in social media.
Yes.
And please, not everyone that is in a dust coat
Yes.
is a nurse.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's a PSA. Not everyone in a dust coat is a nurse. According to Boaz Onchari, he's not a happy man.
It is not according to Boaz.
Yes.
It is according to nurses.
Okay.
Yeah, you go to some restaurants nowadays, they are making clothes that's almost similar to this. These are prescriptions from the Nursing Council. So when I'm putting on these,
Yes.
I'm a nurse and I'm a proud nurse. But if anyone else puts on this gown, she's not a nurse.
Okay.
Yes. So it is the training, it is the passion that I have for nurses, for nursing, that makes me a nurse.
Okay.
And the passion for the patient. So you can put on anything, but please don't call yourself a nurse.
Tafadhali.
Tafadhali.
Wear it but do not speak.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Then came 2013, and I remember at the time I was in a situation where I was covering the news story on free maternity, and we danced about it. Then I went to one of the hospitals, and the nurses told me, it's a good thing for you. For us, we don't have the capacity. So maybe 5 years later, what do you think has been the impact of the free maternity policy?
It is worse.
Okay.
It is worse. I could want even the media to make spot checks on the Beyond Zero caravans that were maybe at different sites of this institution, whether they are really working. Because as you could want to implement, you want to open a facility for Kenyans to get services.
Yes.
Then you must be in a position to have that capacity to employ. Why could a national government roll out a project that is supposed to be funded by the national government and then put the burden on the county government with the resources they are offering? When was the last time that nurses were employed, for instance, in my county? How many facilities have come up in the name of we wanted the F4 agenda to be at every sub-county?
Every county.
Yes.
Okay.
You open a facility, you go to the main hospitals. Where we're still complaining of the few nurses that are there, you poach.
Ah,
Yes.
okay, okay.
So have you solved the problem?
No.
You haven't solved the problem. With the free maternity issues, yes, it was good to the public, but the end product, the number of mortalities in the institutions,
Okay.
have they been audited and to get to know as to why? The issue of staffing, yes. 2 nurses, it requires that for you to attend to a mother who is in labor for a successful delivery, you have to be at least 2 nurses.
Okay.
But how can you be 2 nurses
For the
attending
whole-
to 50 mothers who are almost delivering at the same time, and you see there are standard procedures to be followed to assist a mother to have a safe delivery?
Yes.
Yes.
We are live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, still talking about how do we celebrate a nurse. Well, if you're just joining us, we've addressed the challenges, and the reason why I wanted them to have that time to articulate them is so that we come from a place of understanding. But for now, what is the solution, people? Where do we find our way? So there are 3 people. We have the government, the nurses, and then you have everyone else, someone like me. So we'll start. What do you want the government to do moving forward, Boaz?
First, as a nurse, I could want the government just to honor our CBA.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Because in our CBA, that is where, as Boaz, as a nurse, as a common Kenyan citizen, I find help
Okay,
in solutions to healthcare
Okay.
as a nurse.
okay.
Yes.
Magdalene, you've actually articulated it very well. You know, hire people,
Yes.
address the issues that you're facing, and I feel for the nurses. But what can the nurses still do to make sure that it's not lost on them, that they can actually still give good service?
Well, you know, this is it's very important actually, because sometimes the nurses feel frustrated.
Yes.
And not actually sometimes, because you may be taking care of a patient, a patient may appreciate, because this we find it all the time in the,
Yes.
in the health sector. The patient may be accepting what you're doing to him or to her, but the relatives will be on your neck.
Okay.
They always fight.
Sorry, a technical hitch on your microphone. You're sorting it right now.
All right.
Yes, in just a sec. So meanwhile, Boaz, you can tell us, what can the nurses do to make sure that all hope is not lost? Because everything can't be fixed today, right? Yes.
Yeah, as a nurse, and as I could request my colleague nurses, just as it is, to keep up with our good work that we are doing.
Okay.
We know the constraints that we are undergoing,
Yes.
but we could want to give the best to our fellow Kenyan citizens.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it is our hope that moving forward, let the government and the county governments try to improve on what we have always articulated for. Because we also give solutions to problems in this facing us.
Yes.
Let them not see that when we are raising an alarm that we actually want, we don't down tools because we want to.
Okay.
At times you are forced to create
Yes.
a crisis so that a problem can be solved.
Okay.
Yes.
So keep the positive attitude
Thank you very
and
much.
actually work for it. Magdalene, I believe you're good now. What would you tell nurses like you?
Yeah, nurses, I think it is always good to keep our ethics as we give our services to the public, our ethics, our passion for nursing, because that is why we are nurses.
Yes.
And also the training that we went through. It is always good to portray that in whatever we do to our patients. Coming to the part of the common wananchi, all the patients that we take care of,
Yes.
please, or try to appreciate what we do.
Okay.
Yeah, because we get a lot of resistance in our work. You're trying your best. You are overwhelmed. You are lacking the facilities. So you're trying to do what you can do with the minimum that you have.
Okay.
But they are not appreciating.
Okay.
And also the relatives at times. The patients sometimes appreciate.
Yes.
Seriously. Sometimes the patients may appreciate, thank you for what you've done to me.
Yes.
But when the relatives come,
Yes.
they're on your neck.
Really?
Yes.
And you're still human.
Yes, we are still human beings. So when you're kind to us, we are kind to you, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, we are there to serve you.
Okay.
So appreciate what we do and we'll work together.
Okay.
For the government,
Yes.
please listen to the needs of the nurses. Nurses are people who are trained by their parents. Some of us were trained by our parents. We thank them for that. some of the nurses are taking themselves to school and paying their school fees.
Okay.
So when we have a CBA, honestly, the government, please honor the CBAs. We have kids to take to school. We have families to take care of.
Yes.
Just the way other people have. You have your parents to take care of. You have your brothers and sisters. We also come from families, and we have all that.
Okay.
So we have a passion for nursing. It is a calling, but we need to be paid for what we do.
To actually facilitate
To
that.
facilitate
okay, I hear
that.
you.
Yeah.
We're out of time, so I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, Boaz Wanchari. We'll keep in touch to make sure to see what happens. And thank you, Magdalene Ngare, for making time for us. Asante sana. And here's maybe what I'd tell the two of you and every other nurse listening. We actually appreciate the work you do. If we haven't said it, twasema pole. But we totally appreciate what you do. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation. Sometimes we need to have conversations about realistic things that are actually happening. In as much as we want the lecturers, the doctors to be celebrated, let's not forget some of the key people who are nurses. And in turn, nurses, we've said we be nicer to people. If you're frustrated, you don't you don't exact your frustrations on the patient. Let's all come together. And the government, have a conversation. It's very weird when you have government on one side, deciding we are not talking to anyone, and then the nurses on one side get angry, and the Swahili saying says, fahari wawili wakipigana nani huumia? Kenyan.